Welcome to tonight's Glades Area COVID-19 update. Joining us today are the three mayors of the Tri-City community. We have Mayor Joe Cowles from the city of South Bay, Mayor Keith Babb from the city of Pahokee, and Mayor Steve Wilson from the city of Belle Glade. On the line, we have Palm Beach County Commissioner Melissa McKinley. She is our commissioner for this particular area. And we also have Palm Beach County's Equal Opportunity Office of Small Business, Tanya Davis Johnson, on the line. So welcome, and thank you everybody for taking time out to join us today. We want to start off with Commissioner McKinley. Commissioner, if you can give us an update as it relates to what the county is doing at this current time as it relates to COVID-19. There's a lot of initiatives that's underway, but if you can give us an update, some real-time information so that the community is up to speed on what is happening.
All right. Well, Tammy, thank you for putting this together this evening. Can you hear me clearly?
We hear you very clear. Thank you.
Yep. Just want to make sure. What's on a lot of folks' minds out in the Glades community this evening is the situation we've got going on over at South Bay Correctional Facility, where 9 inmates and 27 staff members at that facility have tested positive for COVID, and about 800 additional inmates are in quarantine. As we speak, the Florida Department of Health strike team is inside of that facility, investigating the situation, providing mass testing to folks that are there. And as soon as I have more updates from you and they've concluded their reporting, I'll make sure to get it to you, Tammy, so you can disseminate that information. The other good news is that, today the libraries in Belle Glade, South Bay, and Pahokee started the summer feeding program a little bit early. That's to try to help out our school system. Today was the first day of distribution in the Glades communities, and we're very excited that we were able to offer that early. In addition to that, one of our very own, the Basor family and TKM Farms, has partnered with the county to distribute produce boxes that are filled with Glades grown produce and that are being distributed at some of the county's most active school feeding sites. And this site in my district, we've actually got 2 of those sites. The first one is Loxahatchee Groves Elementary in Loxahatchee, and the second one is Gove Elementary in Belle Glade. And so when families come to pick up the student meal packs, for the next 4 weeks, twice a week, they'll be given a produce box. And so we're real happy to be able to support our local farmers as well as feed our local families. So it's a win-win situation. Other than that, the news you saw yesterday was that the governor issued a new executive order, which very, very partially a baby step of reopening the state of Florida. That order does not apply to Palm Beach County, Broward County, or Miami-Dade County. And we account for about 60% of all of the positive cases in Florida, as well as about 60% of all of the deaths. When you consider the 3 counties combined represent about 30% of the population of Florida, to represent over 60% of the deaths is pretty significant. The governor is not quite ready to open us back up yet. So he has asked that the 3 counties, the administrators and the mayors, work together with local business leaders in the medical community to come up with recommendations on how we can get back to business in our 3 counties. I'll continue to keep you updated on my social media, as well as anybody who calls me, emails me, or texts me will get a response as soon as we have further information on those developments. We did this week take one step. We reopened golf courses, community pools, natural areas. I'm trying to think of what the other one was. And some of our parks and our boat ramps and our marinas. They did come with a lot of strings attached. So far, that opening happened yesterday. We opened without incident, which is tremendous news. It means people are taking our recommendations seriously. If we can't follow the rules, then we'll have to go back to closing those facilities. So hopefully folks will follow the rules. And just one note, Tammy, on the parks. These sports fields and the playgrounds are still, and the picnic areas are still closed. But you can go walk through the park. You can play basketball if you're only one person, or up to 3 on a half court, but you have to bring your own balls. And so trying to get people a little bit of break from having been cooped up in their houses. And then the last thing I'll note, Tammy, before we go on to the other speakers, I'm so proud of the work that our Florida Department of Agriculture Commissioner Nikki Fried has been doing to help our farmers. We all know on this call that the Everglades agricultural area is America's produce basket this time of the year. We're closing up on our harvest season. Our farmers have been so impacted, and yet they still show up every day to help donate food to our food banks and do what they can, even though they are taking tremendous financial losses, coupled with losses that they've taken over the last few years because of trade disagreements and natural disasters. So just really want to commend the Glades community, all the advocates out there who are fighting for our farmers, and all of our farmers who are making sure that our folks still have the food that they need to eat while they're trying to do everything they can to save their family business. So Nikki Fried has been a big part of that, and just real proud that we've got her fighting for our farmers. And I'll be quiet for now and wait for questions. Thanks, Tammy.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. That was some great information that you shared, and I'm certain it's quite helpful. A lot of people had some questions as related to the parks, and I think you hit it right on the button to provide those answers to those questions. So thank you for joining us. We're going to go to Mayor Joe Cowles. He's hosting us here in the city of South Bay, those of us who are actually here physically. So we would like to hear from Mayor Joe Cowles as it relates to what the city of South Bay is involved in as it relates to this COVID-19 effort.
Thank you, Tammy. I really do appreciate you putting this together, and especially bringing it to the city of South Bay. In the city of South Bay at this present time, what we're doing, we're still talking to the residents in the city of South Bay about social gathering. As you heard of the last 2 weeks, we were having a problem in 3 areas there. Those areas now that the individual that was hanging out in that particular area, they're taking this virus very, very serious now. So the hot spots that we had in the city of South Bay, we're not dealing with that on a day-to-day basis. Every now and then you'll see 2 or 3 people hanging out in certain areas there, especially the one up under the tree. But we're still trying to encourage them to really just take the virus very serious, stop the social gathering, especially the distance of 6 feet apart there. They'll cooperate with us. They'll listen to what we have to say. We're not getting no negative feedback from those individuals within the city of South Bay. Also, you have heard the county commissioner Melissa talked about the correctional student in the city of South Bay. Yesterday, I reached out to the warden and assistant warden. Wasn't able to reach the warden, but I spoke directly to the assistant warden. He expressed to me the same thing that Commissioner McKinley stated. There was 9 inmates that was tested positive for the virus, and they're being quarantined along with the 27 staff members that is being quarantined as well. He expressed to me that they're following the guidelines of the CDC along with the Palm Beach County Health Department, making sure that the temperature is being checked for each and every inmate and plus the employees that come in that's in that facility. Also, he said to me that they're wearing the gloves and the masks, and also they're sanitizing each and every day. And also that they're abiding by the management of the Department of Correction in reference to the things that's taking place at that correctional institute. I was very pleased to hear what he was saying in reference to that, because the Correctional Institute never reached out to the city of South Bay, the city manager or the mayor, in reference to what was taking place in the Glades area. And also that I wanted to make sure that our other mayors know precisely what is taking place, because we have staff members that works out there and they live in these particular cities here, Belle Glade, South Bay, and Pahokee there, and also their family members. We want to make sure that they're safe, along with their family members and their friends and their mothers and fathers there. So these are the things that I was sort of kind of disappointed about by them not reaching out to us, letting us know precisely what was going on in that facility. Also, I'm reaching out to each and every business owner in the city of South Bay to encourage each and every one that come into their business to wear masks as possible. There's only been having one problem with the residents in the city of South Bay has complained to me about the Dollar General store where they're not encouraging people to wear masks there. Some people have masks and some people not. But I was able to speak with a manager at that particular store yesterday, and he expressed to me they will start encouraging people to wear more and more masks as they come into the store because of this particular coronavirus that is taking place there. And also he's encouraging his staff members to do the same identical thing. So we'll continue to encourage each and everyone in the city of South Bay to be safe, continue to follow the guidelines of CDC along with the Palm Beach County Health Department, and also continue to wash your hands as well because it's a must, because we want to make sure that our families is safe within this city here, not only the city of South Bay, but the Tri-City area as a whole. Again, I want to thank the Palm Beach County. I want to thank each and every one for just contributing the amount of food that have been served to the families of our kids in the city of South Bay there. I went out to the school today, and they're doing a fantastic job out there. They're trying to encourage more and more family members to come out there and pick up those food that's being provided for their families there. Hopefully that family will take heed to that, and then they will go out there and pick up this food because it's a great cause and a great thing for those individuals, because we know that there's teachers and other staff members is out there that can be home with their family, but they're out here at the school making sure that our kids and our family receive those meals. So please take advantage of it. And again, Tammy, thank you. And County Commissioner Melissa, thank you for the wonderful report that you have been given as well. Thank you, and may God bless you.
Thank you, Mayor Cowles. That's very, very helpful. Some very, very good information. We're going to move a little bit further north and go into the city of Pahokee. Mayor Babb, can you give us an update as it relates to the city of Pahokie's efforts and initiatives that they're working on to make certain that their residents are informed and safe?
Good evening, all. It's a pleasure to be here with our sister city mayors, Mayor Steve Wilson of the city of Belle Glade and Mayor Joe Cowles of the city of South Bay, along with our County Commissioner McKinley. Thank you for this opportunity to provide an update for the city of Pahokee residents. This has certainly have been a joint effort by the Tri-City as a whole, the community leaders, along with our city officials and our volunteers in the community, have worked extremely hard. One of the areas we have did tremendous work in is feeding the needy, especially our vulnerable population, which is our senior citizen and our children. We have been doing a feeding of approximately 200 meals per city, thanks to the generous donations and funding from Florida Trista, U.S. Sugar Corp., and U.S. Sugar, along with Palm Beach County Sheriff Foundation. As everyone is aware, we're in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic. I'll just encourage everyone to continue to take this pandemic serious. There have been many life lost. Many of our residents have been sick on this virus, so we need to continue to work and keep our safeguards up. Continue to follow the CDC guidelines. In the city of Pahokee, we are basically following the mandates of the state and Palm Beach County. As Commissioner McKinley stated earlier, the opening of Florida don't pertain specifically to Palm Beach County, Miami-Dade, and Broward County. And I'm thankful for that because our area is beginning to be hit. One of the things we need to really work on is getting tested. With the generosity of Palm Beach County lobbying in the state of Florida, we have additional testing capabilities in the Glades area at Lakeside Medical Center. Some of the restriction has been relaxed. You don't have to be experiencing any symptoms. As long as you feel that you may have been exposed or think you have been exposed, you can be tested. And also thankful to the Anquan Boland Foundations, along with the Guardians of the Glades and the Tri-City Education Committee, there will be a testing in the city of Pahokee. I believe that's going to be on May the 8th, which is a Friday. That's going to be in conjunction with a feeding of the community during that time. So we're asking everyone, if you can, if you feel that you are affected or could be affected, please stop by, not only to receive a meal, but to receive testing. This pandemic has affected over 3 million individuals globally. So we want to make sure that our area continue to have low numbers and be educated on this virus. Not only is testing so important, it prevents you from spreading this virus. At least you would know that you have it. You can seek some medical attention, and you can protect your family. And not only your family, you can protect the community at large. We would like to continue with our social distancing, which is very important. Next to testing, that's one of the most important things we can do, is just keep our distance from everyone. We have to assume that we have this virus, or the person that we're speaking to or around may have it. So we're really trying to stop the spread. This is not a sprint. This is a marathon. I know a lot of folks are anxious to get back to normal, but you know, the sad part about it, normal won't be back for a long while. But I know working together, working collectively, and everyone doing their part, we can combat this virus, and we can limit the impact that would have on our area. So again, I on behalf of the Pahokee City Commission, Vice Mayor Clara Mervin, Commissioner Benny Everett III, Commissioner Regina Bolden, Commissioner Felicia Hill, along with our city manager, Chandler Williamson, we ask you to continue to practice good personal hygiene and safety. Just pertaining quickly to Pahokee, City Hall will remain closed to human contact further notice. We're still conducting business at City Hall, and any essential business that you have, we're doing our best to do that online through email or telephone communication, so you won't have to have a need to come into City Hall. Our non-essential staff as well as our essential staff are on amended schedules until further notice. We'll continue to encourage and practice social distances as a priority. Our parks, both Martin Luther King and Commissioner Parks, are open on a limited schedule, but it allows you to do some exercising and get some fresh air. But we're limiting the space there, and our restrooms at the park are going to be open on a limited basis due to the inability to clean and sanitize on an hourly basis, but it will be open for the community use on a limited basis. So again, thank you for the opportunity to provide this with you, and I pray that God will continue to bless Pahokee, the Glades community, Palm Beach County, the Tri-Cities, and the entire state of Florida and our nation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Babb. Much appreciated, and some great information. Now we're going to come down a little further south of Pahokee, and we would like to hear from Mayor Steve Wilson from City of Belle Glade. Mayor Wilson, please give us an update, insight, or some information as relates to what the City of Belle Glade is doing during this COVID-19 pandemic that we're in, and what are you doing to make certain that the residents in your community are informed and safe?
Again, thank you, Ms. Tammy. As the mayor's indicated, thank you for hosting Mr. Mayor South Bay, and thank you, Mayor Babb, City of Pahokee, and our Commissioner, Ms. Tanya, on the line. It's always a pleasure to bring greetings to you on behalf of the City of Belle Glade. and all the elected officials that share the dais with me therein. I would be remiss not to mention their name: Commissioner Michael Martin, Commissioner Johnny Burrows, Commissioner Larry Underwood, and our Vice Mayor Barrett Ross Wilkinson. I want to quickly talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. But before I do that, let me say to our County Commissioner, Ms. McKinley, I would tell you and Ms. Baker, our County Administrator, and Richard Radcliffe with the League of Cities, you guys are doing an excellent job with the EOC and keeping the county informed. We all realize that Palm Beach County is probably one of the fastest growing county in the state, if not the country. But yet you guys are on top of things to keep us posted daily. That means a lot to us. When they talk about the small community, we have good representation on Commissioner McKinley, and thank you, and Marsha Andrews for what you guys do. Now, let me talk about the good things in the city of Belgrade. We do have a lot of folks that are following the procedures as outlined by the CDC guideline. They're doing a great job. But the bad thing about it, we have some folks not doing that. They're still out there with the big social gatherings. We're hoping that people understand that the large groups is not allowed. We try to inform you to keep the social distancing. For some reason, people are not taking this serious. They're taking it as a joke. And we're going to continue being out there. We're going to get the sheriff department involved to go around and make sure that people understand to follow the guidelines. What's ugly about it, I mentioned this the last time, is that we know the kids are home and parents are home because of employment. The trash is building up all over the place. We're going out once a week to pick up the trash, the garbage. Realizing trash and garbage, just like a virus, if you don't maintain it. We notice that people are throwing garbage bags in the middle of the streets. That we're actually to stop that. That's stop the madness. Put the garbage in the trash can. It does relate to a virus if we're not careful about that. So I'm disappointed that I'm seeing that, but at the same time, there are people who are trying to keep things clean. But there are a lot of us out there are really just not paying attention to it, and we hope that y'all follow the guidelines. Now, she mentioned about the pool. Our pool in the city of Belgrade will start opening up 1st of June. Hopefully by that time we'll get more information from the county, from our governor. But by the 1st of June, our pool should be ready to go, and we will continue practicing the social distancing from there. We also, the parks, it's kind of hard to tell kids that only 3 can be on one half of the court. It's kind of hard. We understand we're going to be in compliance. We will have staff out there monitoring that process, to make sure that they are in compliance. Maybe 3 kids on one end and 3 kids on the other end, but it's going to be a tough task when you open the park and tell them that only 3 can be on the court at one time on one end. But we will be in compliance and have somebody monitoring that. I noticed on yesterday that the people are happy about getting to put the boats out there. And so thank you, Commissioner, and to our county leaders for putting the guidelines out there for us. I'm sure they're all thrilled about that. Got a long way to go, but the big issues I would like to relate to y'all tonight is testing. I'm telling y'all, we're going to have to do more testing. I'm very disappointed that we've made arrangement through the powers to be to ensure that we get people tested out there to Lakeside. But I think we're only up to about 1,000 folks that's been tested as of today. We have a population through the 3 cities of about 37,000 people out here. We like to see more people go out and get themselves tested because it's important that you go and get that done. I mean, we ask for the service, we need to utilize them. So we're asking that you please go out there and take advantage of these services as they've been provided. I think on tomorrow, Ms. Tammy is probably going to bring the announcement on that, about the pop-up tents for tomorrow as well as testing. But I'm going to push that we make sure folks in the Glades go and get themselves evaluated. That's important to us. And our staff, we're still up to 20 hours a week. Our sanitation department is still out there. They're doing 40 hours a week. But by the end of the month, we hope to maybe get everybody back up to 40 hours, 40 hours a week. And that's all.
Thank you, Mayor Wilson. We appreciate that update. Tanya Davis Johnson, you are on the line to talk with us about the support as it relates to small businesses. Can you give us an update? I know there's been some things and some additions to the dollars for the PPP program. Can you give us an update as it relates to that and how businesses can apply to secure those funds? Ms. Davis Johnson, are you still there?
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we hear you. Thank you.
Wonderful. I was saying I wanted to thank Commissioner McKinley and the Board of County Commissioners for the work that they do in support of small businesses, and certainly to the mayors of Belle Glade, South Bay, and Pahokee. Thank you for the work that you do as well. So on behalf of small businesses, the Office of Equal Business Opportunity, we continue to monitor daily the SBA and other funding sources that are providing dollars to small businesses. Now, prior to getting onto this call, I was on Lois Frankel's call, and the conversation was that they are not accepting any new applications for the PPP dollars because there was such a backlog of applications that were in the system prior to the funds ending in the first round. So what they're doing now is responding to those applications that were already in the system. I'll give you an example. You had one bank receiving 18,000 applications. They processed 5,000 loans, and they had 13,000 applications in queue. And so we're looking to find other sources that will benefit our smaller businesses. We recognize that a lot of our businesses that we deal with, we sent out a survey to understand how businesses are defining themselves. Do they see themselves as mom and pop, micros, or very small businesses with maybe 5 or less employees, 6 to 10 employees? So the Office of Equal Business Opportunity, we are scouring the state and other organizations that are lending dollars to our micro businesses. So we put together the fact bulletin, which lists some other agencies that are also providing funding for smaller businesses that fit more in line with what we believe to be our small business population and community that we are serving through the Office of Equal Business Opportunity. So we will continue to identify those and make you aware so that you can share them with everyone, those other agencies or organizations or even community banks or credit unions that may have funding that's being made available to our small business population. We continue to provide technical assistance to small businesses. You know, this is a great time to kind of flesh out some of the ideas that entrepreneurs may have had, to think about businesses that they may necessarily want to create at this time. We're still answering those questions, providing referral services for financial assistance, but also additional technical assistance beyond our ability to provide. So we still are ready and open for business, serving clients in a virtual capacity. I do want to remind your listeners that every Tuesday at 1 p.m., there is a Zoom teleconference that is called Tuesday's Tips. And on Tuesdays, we focus and talk about various subject matters: marketing, financial stability, strategic planning, everything that would be of a benefit to our local small businesses. We have identified very key speakers who've been on to share information. Our next session will be next Tuesday, the 5th. It begins promptly at 1 o'clock and it ends at 2. And what we'll be talking about is entrepreneurship and entrepreneurs. So we want to invite you to reach out to us. We can answer your questions. We can help you identify funds. And I also want to encourage you to visit the Palm Beach County main webpage, and there's a COVID tab there. And once you click on the COVID tab, you're going to then click on the resources button. What you'll find in that resources button is The facts bulletin that was put together to identify the various sources of funding, we'll be updating that based on the closure of the various state dollars that were made available, and continuing to update it to some of the smaller lending facilities that will be able to assist. We also have information from the SBA. We have information on their virtual hours, on any type of trainings that they're offering. So on that resources tip, please click that link so that you can have up-to-date information. And we will continue to update you. We'll continue to share through our various commission offices, and certainly with Commissioner McKinley's office on any information that we have that she can push out to a greater database. And we've been working with Lisa of your office, Commissioner. She has been wonderful, getting information and getting answers to the questions that your constituents have had. So the Office of Equal Business Opportunity, now known as OEBO, we are ready and open for business, and we stand ready to assist you. Thank you, Tammy.
Thank you, Tanya. Thank you, everyone, for participating and bringing forth some great information. But we do have a few questions that have been posed. This one is for Commissioner Melissa McKinley. The question that has been posed: is it mandatory for the public to wear masks when entering a public building? And are workers in those stores and businesses required to wear masks as well?
Hey, Tammy, no, they are not required. No, they are not mandated. The order that was put in place was strongly recommended. There are a handful of stores that have made it their policy. Trader Joe's and Target are two examples where they will not allow you in the store without a mask, and all of their employees are wearing masks. We strongly encourage everybody to wear a mask when they are going out into public to protect not only themselves, but the people that they come in contact with. So don't let your guard down. Keep your mask on.
Thank you, Commissioner McKinley. Mayor Wilson, you spoke about social distancing and some of the concerns that you had. One of the questions that has been received is, when can we start requiring enforcement for social distancing?
Well, we're starting now, Ms. Tammy. First couple of weeks was to make sure we educate and inform. But we noticed there are many that are in compliance, but there are many that's not. And so between the captain and I, we're going around now to put more of an enforcement on it. I think it's a matter of people really not taking it real serious, and we just got to get that message to them loud and clear.
Thank you, Mayor. This one is for Commissioner McKinley as well as the three mayors. When can we anticipate the county and municipalities opening, being that Governor DeSantis has opened up portions, wait a minute, let me read it again, has opened up pieces of the state, and that has excluded all of the three southern counties, Palm Beach, Broward, and Miami-Dade.
You want me to go first on that one, Tammy?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, it's a little confusing. Certainly, if it's confusing for me, I know it's confusing for most folks. We were under two orders in the state of Florida. The first order that the governor issued was an order that applied to Miami-Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties. The second order he issued applied to the rest of the state. So he is allowing that order that applied to the rest of the state to expire, and he replaced it with a new order allowing for a small reopening. That is effective on Monday. As I said earlier, the governor said in his comments yesterday, because of the high number of positive cases and deaths in the three counties in South Florida, he is not ready to lift his order for the South Florida county. So he's asked us all to work together to make recommendations that he will consider before issuing his order to slowly reopen South Florida. So right now, it's in the governor's hands, and we are giving him guidance, and it's up to him what he wants to do with that. So I don't want to give anybody any false hope that it's coming soon. I also don't want to give anybody any doom and gloom that it's never coming. So the best answer I can give you right now is we're working on it, and we're working with the governor and his team.
Thank you, Commissioner McKinley. Mayors, is there anything that you want to provide to that question as well?
Yes, I'd like to add, and I'm glad the governor indicated we're not ready. I'm sure my colleagues, Mayor Cowles and Mayor Babs, will indicate the same. We are not ready. Again, let me talk about the data again. 37,000 people in the Glades community, and we only have maybe 1,000 people that's actually been out to get themselves tested. That concerns me. That concerns me from the point that the only way we're going to get through this is that people have to go out and get themselves tested. Every day, our numbers are going up. I think we're up to about 100 now of confirmed cases. Every day the number's going up. That tells us what? That the more people get tested, the higher the number's going to go. And so for us to be thinking that we're ready when we're really not, because we're not really getting the testing out there in the county and Dr. Alonso and all, they're providing all the resources to us, making it so easy for us. Now it's up to us to go and do what we need to do, get ourselves tested, so that way we'll have a better idea. So when the governor decides to give a mandate or order to the county for us, that we'll at least have a better idea where we at. Because our number one goal is to ensure that the safety of these folks in this community. But you also have a responsibility to make sure you're going to do what you need to do, and that is to get yourself tested.
Thank you, Tammy. I agree with the Mayor Wilson in reference to what he's saying about the testing. And testing is a key component to everything here. You know, the governor come back and say he want to open up Palm Beach County, and all of a sudden we have a relapse because due to the fact the individual is not being tested. You ask these mayors about making sure that we have a testing site in the Glades area. That have happened along with the HealthCap district within Palm Beach County. And so I'm encouraging each and every one of you all, before you start asking those questions about when we're going to come back to norm, make sure you encourage people to go out and be tested in order for us to make sure that everyone is ready for this to be, for us to be open up again and move forward in this society. Thank you.
I also concur and agree with the governor recommendation not to open currently Palm Beach County, Miami-Dade, Broward, because of the high number of cases and the under-testing, especially in the Glades area in particularly. I also encourage everyone who suspect they may have this virus to protect themselves and their family and the community to go out and be tested. Once those numbers come down and there is not a continued rise in cases, then I'm sure that the governor will open Palm Beach County as he has in other parts of the state of Florida. But we're not ready at this point.
Thank you, mayors. Thank you, Commissioner McKinley. A lot of people share those sentiments exactly as it relates to opening up our particular communities because they too say that we aren't ready. And the last question that has been posed, and this is for both Commissioner McKinley and Tanya Davis Johnson. What can local businesses do to reach out to leaders about possibly increasing funds for the PPP program? Commissioner McKinley.
Tammy, the PPP program is a federal program. So residents in the Glades community, they need to let Congressman Hastings and Senators Rubio and Scott, they need to let them know how important it is. They need to share the stories of how their business is being affected. We are very fortunate that Senator Rubio actually is the chair of the committee in the U.S. Senate that put this program together. And so if you can, share your stories with his office, That is what I would recommend leaders do, and business leaders and business owners and residents. You know, if they need help from that program, that's who they need to contact. I would send emails, make phone calls. Letters take too long, so or you know, I know Senator Rubio watches his own Twitter account. So if you're on Twitter, you know, tag him in a tweet. Share your story. They need to hear from people about how they're being affected. That's the best thing anybody can do right now. If they're having unemployment issues, if it's a federal unemployment issue, they should contact Congressman Hastings. If it's the state unemployment system, they should contact Senator Rader or Representative Polsky. Or Senator Harrell up in Pahokee, if that's where they live. But you know, that's who they need to reach out to.
Thank you, Commissioner. Ms. Tanya Davis Johnson, anything you would like to add to that?
No, there's nothing to add. The commissioner has said it all.
All right, and then one last question that just came in. Maybe Melissa McKinley, our commissioner, can help with this question, and I will help in my role as healthcare district as well. The question is, what about a walk-up testing site in Belgrade, maybe the loading ramp or anywhere in the city? Commissioner, I'll allow you to go first.
We have a walk-up testing site. You can go. There's still the walk-up screening at Lakeside Hospital, and we've tested 945 people to date. There's plenty of capacity there to continue doing testing. If any of the local businesses, like you said, the Anquan Bolden Foundation tomorrow is working with you to stand up his own walk-up site. If there's any churches or CVS or Walgreens, anybody that wants to go ahead and set something up, they're welcome to. I'm trying to work with Walmart about getting another location in Palm Beach County as well as MD Now. We recognize that a lot more needs to happen, but there's only so much the public sector can stand up and support with resources, Tammy. The private sector and some of these healthcare organizations, doctors' offices and pharmacies and such, they're going to need to they need to stand up and do some of this testing themselves. But people can reach out to the healthcare district and they can show up at Lakeside Hospital. We have actually, I spoke with Todd Von Lehren this evening, we have actually tested more people at the Lakeside Hospital site than we've had appointments because they are taking walk-ups. If somebody comes, they're not turning them away.
Thank you, Commissioner McKinley. The question was something in particular to possibly the Belgrade ramp, but let me just explain that we will have a pop-up testing site on tomorrow at the food distribution site, which will be 233 West Avenue A in Belgrade. Those people who are familiar with the Belgrade area, that's the old Goodwill shopping plaza. That pop-up testing site will be manned, monitored, and sponsored by the Quantum Foundation, Found Care, and the Anquan Bolden Foundation. That testing site is for anybody that wants to be tested for COVID, and the test is free. They will be going to each car as you are in line waiting for a food distribution to begin. That testing will begin at 9 a.m. and conclude at noontime. We will also have the same identical thing in Pahokee the following week, with testing for those organizations, Quantum Foundation, Found Care, and the Anquan Bolden Foundation, to begin at 9 a.m. and conclude at noon. We're also working on opportunities to test our seniors at our assisted living facilities and our senior housing developments. So more information about that will be forthcoming, but we're working on that as well, Commissioner. So I think there's a lot of wheels in play Some of them we have been able to release that information to the public. Some of it we have not because it's still being planned. It's going through the planning process. But that's where we are now as it relates to additional testing coming on site. And we all know that when we bring more testing on site, we will have increase in positives and increase in numbers in our community. And that's good because we know that people are getting tested and we know that they are seeking and needing treatment. So when we test, we know who needs to be treated and where we need to focus our efforts. Before we close for the evening, I would like to say that we need to really, really work on in our community increasing our participation in Census 2020. A lot of things are tied to the census. A lot of the work that's going on now that we're in this pandemic is tied to the census numbers from last year. So we need everybody to partake in the census. If you have not taken the census, please take the moment tonight, tomorrow, to go online, my2020census.gov. If you need to call in, the English telephone number, 844-330-2020. For Spanish, 844-468-2020. And Haitian Creole, 844-477-2020. We would also like to give a huge thank you to the sugar industry, Florida Crystals, United States Sugar, Sugarcane Growers Cooperative, and the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office Foundation for all of their help and support for the Hot Meal Program. The Hot Meal Program has been ongoing in our community. We are coming to a conclusion for that, but we cannot let this time go by without thanking them for standing up and supporting this community to make certain that our seniors and our vulnerable populations are fed during this pandemic. Last thing I would like to say is that we appreciate the opportunity to work with other organizations as well as our 3 municipalities and the county. The Guardians have been constantly and consistently gathering information as it relates to resources available to participants and residents in our community. So we are going to be creating a COVID-19 tips sheet, and that tips sheet should be ready and finalized sometime next week, and we will make certain that we share that with the community. It will contain a lot of information as to how residents need to keep themselves safe, as well as tips and information, phone numbers for additional resources, for assistance with rent, utilities, things of that nature, housing, whatever the case is. We are preparing and pulling all of that information together so we can share a tips sheet with our community. So with that being said, are there any final questions, comments for today?
Yes, comment on Mayor Wilson again. Thank you, Tammy. Again, thank you for your leadership.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. You wear many hats, but the hat I like most is that you're part of the team to getting things done.
Thank you.
Tina Polsky, I'd like to thank her for having such an outstanding aide, Dr. Robert Reese, for helping her. And our county commissioner, Ms. McKinley, for having such an outstanding aide, Alicia Wilson, which share the same last name. She works hard for the Glades community. Want everybody to know that. Get me up 4 o'clock in the morning. We got to work. So, and then we have the Tri-City Education Committee under the leadership of Mary Evans, and we have Mr. Eddie Rose. These are people that boots on the ground. They're always there to make sure we get what we want and make sure we advocate for what we need. And last but not least, City of Berkeley staff, our city manager and his staff, I'll tell you what, they do an awesome job. And a shout out to our church board, making sure that we get the information at the last minute sometime, but he's always there to welcome us. Thank you all so much for a job well done. Thank you.
Thank you, Tammy. I do appreciate everything that you're doing, especially Guardians of the Glades and others that are doing the wonderful things in the Glades here. Making sure that you're putting on this particular COVID town hall meeting every 2 weeks, and making sure that our residents know precisely what is taking place in the Glades area pertaining to this COVID virus. Again, I said thanks to our staff in the city of South Bay for the work that they are doing as well. Anytime I need them, I know they're not working 40 hours, but whenever we need them, we can call them and they're here to work along with us. Again, we want to thank for each and every one for being a partner here in the Glades area. And Mayor, Keith, Babs, and Mayor Wilson, Steve Wilson, thank you. Thank you for us coming together and making sure that we do the right thing for the people in the Glaze area. As I already said, that we're not only looking at our city, we're looking at the entire Glaze area. Again, thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for us coming together to be a team here in the Glaze area. Thank you.
And I'd just like to quickly just emphasize again the completion of the 2020 census on behalf of the Tri-Cities mayors. We really know that's very important for our community to receive funding and all the things that these communities need to progress. So please inform everyone it's safe, it's secure, it's confidential. Even undocumented folks need to complete it. This seniors, the one in the nursing home, everyone need to be counted if they live in these particular.
All right, so again, before we close, a few others that we need to give a huge thank you to. Bishop Kenny Berry. Bishop Kenny Berry has coordinated our hot meal program, and we need to make certain that we thank him and thank him very, very graciously for the work that he did for this particular initiative.
No, I mean, Mr. Barry, I tell you what, he's a champion for us all. I mean, what an outstanding individual. Yeah. So thank you, Tammy, for making sure we recognize Bishop Barry.
All right, and thank you, Coach Rhodes, for being here with us today. Again, we want to thank you for taking the time out to join us for our virtual town hall meeting here in the Glades to hear from our Palm Beach County Commissioner and our 3 mayors, as well as someone from the county's Office of Small Business. This particular town hall has been brought to you today and sponsored by the Tri-City Education Committee, Brother Church, as well as the Guardians of the Glades. Thank you again for joining us, and have a great evening.